Inshallah, we are coming to the last sitting. Inshallah, this sitting is to be shared by our father, our teacher, the eminent professor, the distinguished scholar, Professor Ibrahim JAMIU OTUYO, a professor of Usul al-Fiqh. Inshallah ta'ala is coming to share this session. Inshallah ta'ala. You're welcome, sir. Now, inshallah, those are going to present their papers. I have the honor to invite His Eminence, Sheikh Dr. Abu Jurra Sultani. Naam. لتقديم مقالاتكم. قد قدمت؟ طيب. Inshallah. Inshallah, I have the honor to invite the eminent scholar, Professor Ahmad Bello Dogarawa of Accounting and Accountancy and Islamic Finance, Ahmad Bello University Zaria. You are welcome, sir. Professor Ahmad Bello Dogarawa, you are welcome, sir. I have the honor to invite this eminent scholar, a public figure, a Sheikh Dr. Sanusi Lafiaji. Dr. Sanusi Lafiaji, you are welcome, sir. I have the privilege and honor to invite Ustaz Tawheed Zikrullah, is also a financial expert. Inshallah. These are the prominent scholars that will present their papers. Inshallah, this session will be purely English. Inshallah ta'ala. All papers are to be delivered in English. I hope we enjoy it. I have the honor and privilege to invite our father, our grandfather, to the sister. Hayakumullah. Ma'ali Sheikh Abrashi Hadiyatullah. Kọ́lọ́n járe àwọn bàbá pẹ́ lórí dáadáa. Kọ́lọ́n bá aṣàlékún àlàáfíà àwọn bàbá. Kọ́lọ́n bá aṣàlékún ìfọ̀kànbalẹ̀ fún àwọn bàbá. Alájà kan ṣọ̀rọ̀. Kí àwọn prof náà, Abdulgani Akórèdé Abdulhamid Agbárigidoma káwọn náà máa bọ̀ lórí ìjókòó. I have the honor and privilege of inviting our father, the representative of the Secretary General of the Muslim World League, Dr. Khalud Fadil. Fatafar Mashkuran. Inshallah. I'm now handing over the mic to our chairman. Sir, thank you, sir. Jazakallah khair.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله وكفى والصلاة والسلام على النبي المصطفى وعلى آله وأصحابه وعلى من آثارهم اقتدى واقتفى. أحيي الإخوة الحضور بتحية الإسلام الخالدة. أقول السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. In the name of Almighty Allah, we are going to start this session. And I pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make it a successful one. My brothers and sisters, I give thanks to Allah, the one that deserves to be worshipped and praised every time. And I send my beautiful salutation upon the noble Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. I pray to Allah to have peace, benediction upon him, his household, his companions, and all those who follow his guidance to the day of judgment. Amen. My brothers and sisters, before we start this program, let me start it with giving appreciation. Let me commend our great scholar, our brother, Sheikh Imran AbdulMajeed Eleha, for his efforts towards organizing this beautiful and blessed program for this international conference organized here in Lagos. I don't have anything to give him other than to pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to reward him abundantly. And all those who are organizers of this program, may Allah reward you abundantly. My brothers and sisters, inshallah, we are having 4 papers will be presented here, inshallah. All of them will be in the English language. And let me tell you, you are allowed, you are permitted to contribute with any language, either Yoruba language, Hausa language, Arabic, and English. You are permitted in this session, inshallah. But without taking our time, let us go to the straightforward to this program. As I said, we have 4 papers will be presented here, inshallah. The first paper will be presented by our Professor Ahmed Bello Lugarawa, following by another presentation by Dr. Munuruddin Al-Riyadi Salahuddin. Then my brother, Dr. Harun Sanusi Lafiaji, inshallah, will present his paper. And also, the last one will be from our stars, Tawheed Dhikrullah. Inshallah, I hope that these presentations, inshallah, everybody will gain here and will benefit. Bidinillahi ta'ala. The first paper, I'm going to call our Professor Ahmed Bello Lugarawa. Professor Lugarawa is a professor at the Department of Accounting, Ahmed Bello University, Zaria. MashaAllah, he was former of head of department, even deputy dean. And also, he published more than 50 papers in local and international academic and professional journals. And also, he has some more than 100 papers delivered in different international and local conferences. Jazahullahu khairan. Inshallah, I will give him 15 minutes to deliver his paper. I pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to help you and assist you.
presenting this because I left my bag where I have the backup.
The title of his paper will be Application of Fiqh of Contemporary Issues in the Areas of Social, Economic, Commercial Activities and Modern Products.
I've already sent it to them.
You have, sir, just only 15 minutes, inshallah. You may summarize your paper, inshallah.
Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Wassalatu wassalamu ala as'adin nabiyina wa ashrafil mursalin. Sayyidina wa nabiyina Muhammadin wa ala alihi wa ashabihi wa man walahu wa ba'd. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Mr. Chairman, sir, kindly permit me to stand and proceed on the already established protocol in order to utilize my 15 minutes to its fullest. The title of my presentation is Application of the Fiqh of Contemporary Issues in the Areas of Socio-Economic Activities and Modern Financial Products. The paper is divided into 7 sections: introduction, concept of fiqh of contemporary issues, basis of fiqh of contemporary issues, process of determining Islamic ruling for contemporary issues, applying fiqh of contemporary issues in financial transactions, applying fiqh of contemporary issues in socio-economic activities, and a brief conclusion. I started the paper by reminding us of the need to understand and apply the fiqh of contemporary issues in the areas of socio-economic activities and modern financial products. And I concluded by saying that the need to do that cannot be overemphasized. Because most of the papers that dwelled on fiqh of contemporary issues, that's fiqh al-waqi, have defined and conceptualize fiqh al-waqi. I don't have to go over these definitions in my paper. However, what I said here, or I asked some questions to problematize the issues I attempted, or I made an attempt to address in the paper. What is fiqh of contemporary issues? And why is it important for scholars and students of knowledge to deeply understand and apply it in driving Islamic rulings for contemporary financial transactions and socio-economic activities? And what are the processes involved in applying fiqh of contemporary issues? So as I said, I will not go back to the definition of fiqh of contemporary issues. However, it's important to place on record that having a great understanding of the context and realities of an issue beforehand is among the many considerations needed to formulate a fatwa. Fiqh al-waqi, that is fiqh of contemporary issues, is also called fiqh al-nazila, fiqh al-haditha, fiqh waqa'i al-mustajidda, and fahm al-waqi. And we have even found that some scholars of usul al-fiqh refer to it as tahqiq al-manat. There are a number of Quranic and ahadith, Quranic verses and ahadith that provide a basis for fiqh of contemporary issues. Alhamdulillah, even in one of the presentations made this morning by our noble Sheikh, Dr. Ahmad, and even the one that followed it, some verses of the Quran were mentioned, and also some ahadith were quoted. But I just want to add one to the list of ahadith that provide a basis for fiqh of contemporary issues. The Prophet ﷺ was asked about the best of deeds. Ayul a'amali afdal. And at one time he said, Imanun billah wa rasulih. And at another time he said, as-salatu liwaqtiha. So he gave two different answers to the same questions, asked by two different people. Why? Because he looked at their situations, their different situations and conditions at the time they asked the question. This means that failure to understand context and realities will result in the emergence of fatwa and religious guidance which are deviated from the truth. Now there are three stages, as we know, of arriving at a correct Islamic ruling on any contemporary issue. The first is at-taswir or at-tasawwur. The second is at-takyif al-fiqhi, and the third is tanzil al-hukm or at-tanzil. One of the quotations that provide a basis for these three stages is the statement that was quoted yesterday and twice today from Al-Imam Ibn Al-Qayyim Al-Jawziyah in Ilam Al-Muwaqqi'in, Volume 1, page 69. But I just want to add one point, because previous presentations have actually talked about the statement. In my view, the statement of Ibn Al-Qayyim not only highlighted the importance of at-taswir and at-takyif al-fiqhi, as many of the previous speakers said, but I also believe that it touched about tanzil al-hukum. This is because towards the end of his statement, after the two issues he mentioned, وَلَا يَتَمَكَّنُ الْمُفْتِي وَلَا الْحَاكِمِ مِنَ الْفَتْوَى وَالْحُكْمِ بِالْحَقِّ إِلَّا بِنَوْعَيْنِ مِنَ الْفَهْمِ أَحَدُهُمَا فَهْمُ الْوَاقِعِ to the end. والنوع الثاني فهم الواجب في الواقع وهو فهم حكم الله الذي حكم به في كتابه أو على لسان رسوله صلى الله عليه وسلم في هذا الواقع. Then Ibn al-Qayyim concluded by saying ثم يطبق أحدهما على الآخر. In my own view, this last portion is clearly talking about tanzil al-hukm, which means the statement of Imam Ibn al-Qayyim has actually covered the three stages of issuing or of fiqh al-waqi. I also quoted the statement attributed to Umar ibn al-Khattab radiyallahu anhu as contained in Sunan al-Kubra lil-Bayhaqi, hadith 20,538. In a statement or a book, a letter written to Abu Musa al-Ash'ari by Umar bin al-Khattab, as reported or narrated by Al-Imam al-Bayhaqi in his Sunan al-Kubra, he said, ثُمَّ الْفَهَمَ فِيمَا أُدْلِيَ إِلَيْكَ مِمَّا لَيْسَ فِي قُرْآنٍ وَلَا سُنَّةٍ ثُمَّ قَايِسِ الْأُمُورَ عِنْدَ ذَلِكَ وَأَعْرِفِ الْأَمْثَالَ وَالْأَشْبَاهَ ثُمَّ أَعْمِدْ إِلَى أَحَبِّهَا إِلَى اللَّهِ فِيمَا تَرَى وَأَشْبَهِهَا بِالْحَقِّ. So even this statement has actually summarized the three stages of issuing fatwa on the basis of fiqh of contemporary issues. Now, in terms of the process, I identified three, which has been mentioned by many presenters. And under that taswir, I mentioned the popular qaida of al-hukmu ala shay far'un an tasawwuri, and a statement by Ibn Amir al-Hajj in his book At-Taqrir wa Tahbir, where he said, al-hukmu ala shay'i biduni tasawwurihi muhalun. It is completely impossible to arrive at a correct ruling on a particular issue without proper conceptualization of that issue. And I mentioned three important considerations for at-tasawwur sahih: obtaining detailed information about its nature and reality, asking experts about the what, why and how of the issue, seeking clarification regarding ambiguities. For example, al-istifsal wal-istifsar. Because sometimes someone would ask a question, and if you delve into giving fatwa without asking all the majalat al-muta'alliqa bil-mas'ala or bil-su'al, idhan taqa' fil khata'. Because of that, it is important to seek clarification in terms of al-istifsalu wal-istifsaru. And then lastly, the issue of contextualization of the issue with regard to place, time, people, and atmosphere, which is the focus of the paper presented by our brother Sheikh Abdulrahman. Now I gave some example regarding the importance of at-tasawwur sahih before giving fatwa. I cited example with the issue of insurance, at-ta'amin. If you are to build a fatwa on the basis of at-ta'amin without understanding its realities and its context, you would actually be wrong. Because insurance is of different types. We have the one that is compulsory, imposed by the government. You have no option. For example, in Nigeria, we have national insurance scheme for all public servants. So it is not negotiable, it is not voluntary, it is compulsory. There is also at-ta'amin at-ta'awuni, cooperative insurance. There is also at-ta'amin at-taqlidi, and from these two, another variant of insurance was developed, that is at-takaful. So you need to understand all this before you arrive at a proper characterization, that is at-takyiful fiqhi. I also gave example with COVID-19, when it came, when it happened. Scholars had to look at the pandemic, its complexity, the extent of its damage, and the maslaha of ummah before characterizing it in terms of at-takyif al-fiqhi to give fatwa on issue of distancing, in salah, issues of even closing, masajid for some time and the rest. All of these are a function of husn al-tasawwur. Then on at-takyif al-fiqhi, which some scholars call at-takhrij al-fiqhi or al-ashbah al-fiqhiyya or haqiqatu shay or mahiyatu shay. Scholars call it with all these names. We mentioned the importance of that in the paper, and I gave 3 criteria for arriving at a proper characterization of any issue before jumping to conclusion about it. I talked about the fact that it should be based on the established sources of Sharia, using the tool of manatul hukum, that's effective cause, and mutabaqatul hukum. It's very important. And then where there is disagreement among jurists, then consideration should be given to the tools of maqasid al-sharia and maslaha. And if the matter is new and there is no any precedent in terms of ruling by scholars, the relevant tools of ijtihad are to be used, including maqasid al-a'mal, umum al-balwa, sadd al-zara'i, and al-istishab. I gave 2 examples, but for constraint of time, I will not go into the details of the example. But I just mentioned the issue of legal ruling on takaful and sukuk. They were arrived based on likening them to traditional forms of transaction, that they are also either ijara or they are either murabaha, that is a type of sale on the basis of murabaha. The second example is the issue of selling weapons to unauthorized persons during during sedition, during fitna. There are, issues with that, and there are bases for that. I mentioned why at-takayyuf al-fiqhi. I cited the saying of Allah, وَلَا تَقْفُ مَا لَيْسَ لَكَ بِعِلْمٍ, and also the saying of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, "Man uftiya bifutya ghayra thabtin, fa innama ithmuhu ala man afta." So it is important that we do correct takyif, correct characterization before we go into issuing or delving into giving ruling. Now on tanzil, at-tanzil or tanzil al-hukm, some call it fiqh al-tatbiq. I mentioned 2 issues that ruling can be determined using al-asl al-fiqhi and the knowledge of ahkam al-asl al-fiqhi with consideration for both ahkam al-taklifiyya and ahkam al-wada'iyya. And then the ruling could be arrived through jama'i, al-ijtihad al-jama'i, or al-ijtihad al-fardi. And if it is ijtihad fardi, then it could be determined by a mujtahid who will do ijtihad if he is qualified. But if he's not qualified, then he may be a muntasib by actually adopting what he considers to be the preferred scholarly opinion of the scholars. I gave some examples on that, and I cited one very important statement from the book of Ibn Rajab al-Hanbali, JAMIU al-Ulumi wal-Hikam, where he quoted Arabi ibn Khafim saying, لِيَتَّكِ أَحَدُكُمْ أَنْ يَقُولَ أَحَلَّ اللَّهُ كَذَا وَحَرَّمَ كَذَا فَيَقُولُ اللَّهُ كَذَبْتَ لَمْ أُحِلَّ كَذَا وَلَمْ أُحَرِّمْ كَذَا. One of you should be careful in saying Allah permits this and forbids that. And Allah will say to him on the day of Qiyamah, you lied. I never permitted it. I never forbade it. So I mentioned some of the characteristics of a good understanding of fiqh of contemporary issues: value-oriented, text-centered, under-value-oriented. I mentioned reality and context-based, life-oriented based, expertise-based, and empirical foundation. Now, this is the crux of the matter. I know I have very few minutes left. I gave example, some contemporary issues in financial and socio-economic activities, issues regarding cryptocurrency, POS business, pre-order, drop shipping, MLL, that is multi-level marketing, pyramid schemes, issues in musharaka, especially musharaka mutanakisa, issues in ijara, especially ijara muntahiya bit-tamlik, and ijaratul manafi or ijaratul khadamat, and then murabaha lil amir bishra. Then on the issue of selling of airtime, when you buy airtime, you have it on your phone. Can you sell it? If you can sell, can you sell for a profit, or it must be the same? Is it the same with just exchange all on? Where maybe you are borrowing airtime from MTN network, you are borrowing and they will charge you 10%, 15%, 20, 60, is it a sell from their own end and a purchase from your own end? Is it an ijara, istijar from their own end giving you a service? Or is it actually a loan and that you are paying riba on it? I gave these examples and some few issues in zakah and waqf. For example, issue of acquiring a new house today. What happened? It's a mal. It should be subject to zakah. But there is the issue of al-umuru bimaqasidiha. It depends on your intention of purchasing and acquiring that house. If you acquire it for personal use, there is no zakah. If you acquire it and treat it as a trading good, it will be subject to zakah on the basis of urud tijara. If you acquire it because you want to keep it until the price appreciates and then you sell it, its zakah will fall under malul kinya. If you acquire it with the intention of leasing it out so that you generate rent from it, it will actually fall under either malul mustafad or under proceeds of ijar. So it depends on the niyyah. Al-umuru bimaqasidiha. I mentioned some examples in the paper on waqf, especially istismar mal waqf, which is a very controversial issue. Can you invest the property of waqf? Can you sell the property of waqf? If you will sell on the basis of al-istibdal, replacing it with something better, or you sell on the basis of al-istihlak, discontinuing with the waqf, the ruling will certainly change because of the niyyah. In this case, al-umuru bimaqasida. So I gave many examples, about 13 slides, talking about examples, and I created a table, as you can see. For each of them, for example, muraba, to purchase order, muraba, al-amir bishira, conceptualization, at-taswir, characterization, taqyif al-fiqhi, and determination of rule, tanzil al-hukmi. For each of this, so I have muraba, I have musharaka mutanakisa, I have ijara muntaya bit tamlik, I have ijaratul khadamat or ijaratul manafi, I have cryptocurrency, I have POS business, which I believe is very interesting. Because in POS business, as we know, it's a type of sell. Just move on to the slide. POS business. Move on quickly, please. I mentioned that it's an agent banking model that uses third-party agents to provide financial services on behalf of banks, mobile money operators, or other accredited financial institutions. Okay, I talk about the agent use POS devices to enable local debit card holders to deposit and withdraw cash, transfer funds, pay bills, and recharge airtimes. Agents earn money from fees or commission from transaction. POS business is well accepted as alternative that serve cash and other banking needs in Nigeria. That is a conceptualization at Taswir. But under at-Takyif al-Fiqhi, I said scholars have two takyif. They have disagreement. They have two bases of at-Takyif al-Fiqhi for POS business. Some see it as a khidmah, which fall under what is called al-hawala as-suftajiyah. Al-hawala to-suftajiyah, which is something that has started since the time of the Tabi'un, suftajiyah, where you have money and you don't want to take the risk of traveling with the money. You get someone here in Lagos, give him the money, he gives you a paper. He has an agent in Abuja. You go to Abuja and collect the same money, and then you pay him a commission or a fee. This is the basis that some people characterize, do their takyif. So they said it falls under al-hawala as-suftajiyah, and therefore the rulings of wakala should apply to it. But the second group of scholars said no, it is a form of exchange. It's a sum of sarf. It's an exchange. And if it is an exchange, the rules of sarf should actually apply to it. Some said no, it is al-qard, and the rules of qard in terms of riba, qard should apply to it. Now on the basis of this, if you want to determine the ruling, going by the first characterization, it means it is wakala. And if it is wakala, wakala may be bil ujra or bi ghair al ujra. It may be with fees or without fees. And it means POS agents can charge a fee or commission for allowing you to transfer money, or for withdrawing money, or for paying bills and the rest. And then there is haja, because it's a need, especially in countries like Nigeria, which means on the basis of that, you can begin to look at legal maxims as al-hajatu tunazzalu manzilat al-darura. So you can look at that and apply it to say it is halal. But if you look at it from the viewpoint of the second takyif, it means ya ayyuhalladhina amanu ittaqullaha wa dharu ma baqiya min ar-riba in kuntum mu'minin. Bil batil, it will fall under that. So it means depending on the characterization. Then drop shipping, sale of airtime, borrowing of airtime from network providers, and I gave some blank tables. For example, paying back qardu with voluntary extra amount. Someone give you loan and you are paying and you are adding something on top on your own, not because he made it a condition. Is it halal or haram? So you need to do a taswir sahih, you need to have a takyif al-fiqhi sahih, you need to have a tanzil al-hukum. So I now left it blank and said do the exercise. So it's like I'm giving assignment here or class work. Charging administrative fee. Is it permissible for a bank when it issues or give what is called qardul hasan to someone, which should be without any interest attached to it? Man dhalladhi yuqridu Allah qardan hasana. Now can the bank charge a fee called administrative fee for the processing of that loan? I also left it blank so that people can do the exercise themselves.
Sorry, you have 5 minutes more.
Thank you, sir. Charging of penalty, al-gharama. Al-gharama. If you actually take a financing from a bank, Islamic bank, like murabaha lil-amir bishra, or ijara, whether it is ijara, ijaratul manafi or ijaratul khadamat, and you default in the payment of the financing of the facility without any valid reason or excuse, because Allah says فَإِنْ كَانَ ذُو أُسْرَةٍ فَنَذِرَةٌ إِلَى مَيْسَرَةٍ. But where there is no valid excuse, can the bank charge you penalty al-garama? If it can charge you penalty, on which basis? What is the conceptualization, taswir, of that mas'ala? What is the takyif al-fiqhi of that mas'ala? And how do you do the tanzil hukum? I now left it open for people to go and exercise their brains. Multi-level marketing, I also left it for us. Pyramid schemes, I left it for us, because if you understand the previous slides, we'll be able to do this. Pre-order business. Now zakah on newly acquired house, I gave example and I gave the circumstance where it will be zakatable. So depending on the intention, al-umur bi maqasidiha, that is what is important. But one thing I need to mention, please, as even if it's going to be the last thing I will mention, is the issue of the popular qaida. Al-ibratu fil uqudi bil maqasidi wal ma'ani la lil mabani wal alfaz. Because of the difference in takyif of borrowing airtime, this qaida, legal magazine, may be relevant, because the takyif al-fiqhi or the categorization, the takyif al-fiqhi of that issue, scholars have two different opinions. Some see airtime as a service. So therefore, the service or network provider will give you that service, and you have the right of usage of that service. Which in that case, if you do the takyif on that basis, then certainly borrowing airtime will not have any issue. But if you look at airtime as money, because you can use it to buy something, you can also send airtime to a friend or a brother in another place, and that same airtime, he will use it as money. In other words, he will give it to someone who needs it, and he will collect money. So because of that, the difference in at-takyif, some said it is a service, so there is ijaratul khadamat there. Some said no, it is money, and in that case the rules of sarf or the rule of qard must actually apply to it. So you can see some scholars now insisted that the issue is, even if the network said it is borrowing, al-ibratu fil uqudi bi al-maqasid wa al-ma'ani la lil alfaz wa al-mabani. So these are some issues that scholars and students of knowledge like me, talabatul ilm, need to take into consideration before hastening to conclude on emerging issues and emerging matters. Finally, respected brothers and sisters, I mentioned the issue of zakah on shares. And you know, even though there are popular fatwa of scholars, even Ayofi has given fatwa on that, Majma'ul Fiqhi ad-Dawli has also given fatwa on that, but still there are some people that have different opinion. Because if you have shares in a company, based on the rules of Sharia regarding owning the shares, that's not what we're after. Assuming you buy the shares of companies that you can buy, you can invest, it is halal. Now what happened to the investment? Now you can see even here, intention is important. If you want to treat the shares as a trading good, meaning anytime a willing buyer comes up, you will sell. Or anytime you get someone or the price increases or appreciates, the value of the shares appreciates, you will sell. It means it's a trading good. And its zakah will fall under zakatu urudi tijara. But if you want to retain the shares in the company as part owner and just be enjoying dividend at the end of every year, then in that case, it is no longer urud tijara, meaning it will only fall under the proceeds, because it is the proceeds, that is the dividend, the value of the dividend that you will include, or you will pay zakah from it by itself if it reaches nisab by itself, or when combined with other monies.
Conclusion.
I think this is part of what is there. And then selling of waqf property, I also base its takyif on al-umuru bi maqasidiha, on the basis of whether the intention is al-istihlak or al-istibdal. So finally, Mr. Chairman, thank you very much. I left some spaces also for another, intellectual engagement, investment of waqf property. I left the table blank for people to exercise the brains and cash waqfun nuqud. We know that it's really also very debatable. It's a very serious issue, and there are a lot of debates. We have scholars who are well versed in fiqh and fiqh al-maliki. We know that according to Imam Malik, it is possible, it is permissible to do fiqh al-ta'am. So if it is possible to do waqf al-ta'am, if it is possible to do waqf al-ta'am, then min babi awla for waqf al-nuqud to be permissible. Why? Because if you give me food as waqf and I eat, where is the money of waqf? It's gone. Because I've eaten the food. It's food, I eat it, it's gone. But waqf al-nuqud can actually be used for centuries after centuries. Which means in terms of maqasid of waqf al-nuqud should also be considered permissible even in the Maliki school of thought. Finally, I said knowledge of fiqh of contemporary issues, that's fiqh al-waqi, is an indispensable tool that help muftis and students of knowledge to navigate the process of determining Islamic ruling for emerging issues in the areas of business and financial dealings, socio-economic activities, and other spheres of life. There is no gainsaying the fact that in the absence of proper conceptualization, husn taswir or tasawwur, and understanding of the reality and context of an issue, as well as its proper characterization, takyif al-fiqhi, any attempt to drive a ruling for it will lead to deviation from the purpose of the Sharia. Because the popular saying goes, faqidu shay'in la yu'tihi. Wa sallallahu wa sallam wa barak ala nabiyyina Muhammadin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa sallam. Thank you very much, and I really want to commend the effort of Daaru'Naim for this wonderful conference, and I pray Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will continue to strengthen it and its team. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us the full benefits of this conference. Wa jazakumullahu khairan wa subhanaka Allahumma wa bihamdik ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilaik. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Jazakallahu khairan. Let me thank and commend our eminent scholar, Professor Ahmad Bello Dogarawa, for this well and excellent presentation. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala increase your knowledge and wisdom. Our brother, our professor, has tried to explain the stages that should be followed before you can give any fatwa for any issues. He mentioned what is called a tasawwur al-fiqhi, that you need to imagine, you need to understand that issue properly. Otherwise, we make a lot of mistakes. And also, you need also to know the Sharia, the rules that relating to that issue in order to compare. So this is very important. And also, you need to know the maqasid, objectives of that thing, how to apply that rules to this issue. And our brother Jazawullah Khairan tried to give some examples relating to the social and commercial activities and issues. Especially what is very interesting, as you said, the issue of POS is very popular. Everywhere now you can see POS. And even in the village, you can see a lot of POS. What is the rules of this POS? So people need to know the rules. Jazakallahu khairul jaza. And also he gave us examples of some issues that are happening in our banks now, transactions. So Jazakallahu khairan. Now, my brothers and sisters, we are going to go to the second paper. Okay, I think our brother Muniruddin, Dr. Muniruddin, is he around or not? Okay, let us go to this third paper. That will be delivered inshallah, by our brother, the lecturer of Al-Hikmah University, Dr. Sanusi, Haruna Sanusi Lafiaji. Haruna Sanusi Lafiaji, let me say something about him. He's my student. But troublesome student in a class. He used to ask a lot of questions. But mashallah, he's a very, very brilliant. And I think he obtained first class in Al-Hikmah University. He obtained now master degree and even PhD in University of Ilorin. Jazakallah khairan. And inshallah you will gain from his paper. The title of his paper will be Muslim Du'at and the need for understanding and application of fiqh of contemporary issues in their approach. This to show that when you are talking about fiqh al-waqi, does not limit to al-fiqh or sharia only, but even in a dawah, giving dawah, you need to consider the environment of people that you are calling for. So, inshallah, my brother Haruna Sanusi will talk on this issue. I pray to Allah to give him tawfiq. Now.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillah. Wassalatu wassalamu ala Rasulillah wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa man wala. Distinguished participants, teachers, fathers, and mothers and sisters in this conference, I salute every one of us with the best of salutations. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. It is a great privilege for me to be here this year at the annual Daaru'Naim conference. I want to appreciate the founder and director of Daaru'Naim, Sheikh AbdulMajeed, Eleha, for finding me worthy of invitation to this occasion. I also want to thank my two teachers with whom I shared the stage this morning. Professor IBRAHIM OTUYO was my teacher at the undergraduate level and then my head of department. And Professor Abdulgani Agbarigidoma was also my teacher at the undergraduate level and then the dean of my faculty after I became a staff of the university. I thank you for this privilege. My paper is titled The Muslim Du'at and the Need for Application of the Fiqh of Contemporary Issues in their Dawah Approach. There is no doubt that the Nigerian Dawah space is heavily saturated with the proliferation of unskilled, untrained, and unprofessional du'ats who by mere possession of a smartphone, data, and access to social media page have turned themselves into Shuyukhul Islam, dishing out fatwa and doing dawah just as they wish. And when you look at the ugly trend, one thing that has happened is that even the ordinary definition of who is a da'iyah is a problem today in Nigeria. Who is a scholar is a problem. And one thing that differentiates scholars from muta'alimun, those who masquerade in the ZU, in the gap of scholars, is that while scholars have humility, the muta'alimun are usually very arrogant. And something comes to mind. There is a narration from Abdurrahman bin Wahab who said, سمعت عمي يقول سمعت مالكا يسأل عن تخليل أصابع رجال في الوضوء فقال ليس ذلك على الناس فتركته حتى خف الناس فقلت يا أبا عبد الله سمعتك تفتي في مسألة تخليل أصابع رجلين زعمت أن ليس ذلك على الناس وعندنا في ذلك السنة فقال مالك وما هي قال حدثنا الليث بن سعد وعبد الله بن لهيعة وعمرو بن الحارث عن يزيد بن عمرو المعافري عن أبي عبد الرحمن الحبلي المسلم بن شداد القرشي قال رأيت رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم يدلك بخنصره ما بين أصابع رجليه فقال مالك إن هذا حديث حسن وما سمعت به قط إلا الساعة ثم سمعت بعد ذلك يسأل عن المسألة فأمر بتخليل الأصابع. In summary, Imam Malik was, in quote, ignorant of a hadith that legalizes the washing of the spaces in between our toes. And when his student told him the hadith, he said, Inna hadha hadithun hasan wa ma sami'tu bihi qattu illa sa'a. That is humility. This hadith is good, but I have never heard about this hadith until now. Al-Bayhaqi mentioned this in the Sunan al-Kubra, hadith number 361. So this is what differentiates the real scholars from those masquerading as scholars. So it is unfortunate that the dawah space today, especially on the social media, where I am a participant, is heavily saturated with this kind of people. So there's a need for everyone that wishes to give dawah and fatwa on the social media space to acquaint himself with the realities of the time. And I give an example. My supervisor and father, Professor Imam Yakub Aliaga, is currently in the US. And last Friday, he wrote on his Facebook page that he gave 2 Juma khutbah in the same masjid to 2 different jama'ah. Yes, 2 Juma khutbah in the same masjid to 2 different jama'ah. Now, let's reason and imagine this scenario. To the average da'iya and mufti on social media, hada haram. This is wrong, right? But you must understand that the Assembly of Muslim Jurists of America in the year 2000, January 1st, June 29, 2008, June 17, 2010, gave a fatwa permitting this because of the reality of their environment that does not permit every Muslim to attend the Jumu'ah prayer at the same time. This same issue was asked of the Al-Lajna Daima in Saudi, and they said it's haram. Sheikh Umar Shaltut of Cairo said, no, I have never heard of this before. This is wrong. But this is the reality of the Americans. So every mufti, every da'iyah needs to understand what is happening in their community before giving people blanket fatwa. But the Nigerian media, the Nigerian social media space and dawah space, this is what is happening. وصدق من قال تصدر للتدريس كل مهوس بليد تسمى بالفقيه المدرس فحق لأهل العلم أن يتمثلوا ببيت قديم شاع في كل مجلس لقد هزلت وقال بعضهم لقد هزلت حتى بدا منه زالها كلاها وحتى سمع كل مفلس. The dawah and fatwa today has become like a ram that was not well fed, and everybody, the poor, the rich, everybody is just pricing the ram. How much is it? وصدق أيضا من قال أتانا من الأعراب قوم تفقهوا وليس لهم في الفقه قبل ولا بعد يقولون هذا عندنا غير جائز ومن أنتم حتى يكون لكم عنده. So this is something we need to understand, and the issues, the contemporary issues like the Mashayikh have mentioned, one simple issue that is heavily complicated because people don't understand what is fiqh al-awlawiyat and what is fiqh, the maqasid of Sharia, and what is the fiqh of our contemporary time is, take for instance, blood test before marriage. Some people say doing genotype is against the hadith of Jabir ibn Abdullah. He said, "Kana Rasulullah yu'allimuna al-istikhara kama yu'allimuna as-surata min al-Quran." They say it's against istikhara. Once you do istikhara, go ahead and marry. But this is wrong. This is wrong. Istikhara may not reveal to you that this person has underlying health issues. How many people did istikhara and by Allah's permission, they even ended up, regretting the marriage? Because these are aqdar of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Istikhara doesn't mean you now have a very good marriage, there will be no problem. There will still be problems. But it is the best for you, according to Allah's qadar. So istikhara and doing genotype test do not conflict with each other. In fact, from where I stand, genotype test is the least of what you should worry about. There are people with psychosis, people with mental health issues, that we also need to do brain tests for some people to determine whether they are really in their right frame of mind. Some people inherited certain things from their fathers, the way their fathers treated their mothers. They inherited all of these things and would apply it to their wives. Some women to their husbands. So genotype test is the least of our worries. HIV test is the least of our worries. So, again, look at the issue of DNA, which of course has now become a major issue. How does DNA conflict with the hadith that says, Al-waladu lil-firas wa li'a'il al-hajar. Of course, DNA test was known to the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, but with a different names. Al-Qiyafa was popular during the time of Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. There were people that can determine paternity and affiliations just by looking at people's legs. So this one is the son of this one. Is that not what DNA does? But then the question is that if can DNA test be a conclusive evidence? I wrote a paper about DNA fingerprinting and its application to the Sharia. DNA test, as far as I have researched, can only give us circumstantial evidence. It is not a conclusive evidence. Do you know why? Because of so many factors. Some are human factors, some are even technological factors. A human being may deliberately change the result of a DNA test after being paid to say, tell them he is not my son or he is my son. What about faults in the technology being used? Among other things. So that is why, as far as Sharia is concerned, al-waladu lil-firas supersedes DNA test. The one that is married to a woman is the father of any child that woman produces, even if the child was fathered by another person. And this was the Prophet's judgment in the case of Abdul-Majeed. So, I mentioned some challenges that we have as du'at that are facing us in the contemporary society, such as the proliferation of very ignorant and untrained du'at. If in this current age, some people are still arguing over the permissibility of eating dog meat or not, it goes to show that those we regard as scholars and du'at in our society are the least qualified to open their mouth except it is for dental treatment. This is a mas'ala kutilat bahthan. Since the time of the Sahaba, no scholar of Islam ever said aklul luhumil qilab halal. But in our society, people are arguing over its permissibility. Just this morning, I heard that a supposed Da'iyah said, Almighty Allah did not prohibit zina, He only advised against it. Wallahi, I heard it this morning. That Allah did not prohibit zina, He only advised against it. Advice means I can choose to take it or not. There was a time on social media, somebody wrote that in the madhab of Imam Shafi'i, it is permitted for a man who fathered a bastard child to marry her. Then I did my research. It is a statement from someone in the madhab, not the preponderant view of the madhab, and in fact it was meant for the consumption of students of knowledge in a halaqah. There are certain issues that the da'iyah must understand are not meant for the public. They are meant for students in halaqat. Now imagine this kind of issue coming out, that a man who fathers a bastard child can marry her, because even though biologically he is the father, legally the Sharia doesn't recognize his parenting. But this mas'ala, like our Prof rightly said, is actually out of su'u tasawwur. Do you know why? Because in the Sharia of Islam, if a man fathers a child without a valid wedlock, and the woman was not also married to a man, Imam Ibn Taymiyyah and Ibn al-Qayyim also followed his view, are of the opinion that when it comes to affiliating the child to the man and also inheritance, this child can be affiliated to that man and the child can inherit the man. Ibn Taymiyyah's argument is that al-waladu lil-firas applies when there is marriage. When there is no marriage, there is no firas. Though we have to look at the maslaha of this child. If this child is denied of paternity, will the child survive? If this child is denied of inheritance because the man that fathered him or her did not have a legal marriage with the mother, what will happen to this child? This is the fiqh that the da'iyah and the mufti must understand. So in certain situations, we have to go with the view of Ibn Taymiyyah wa Ibn al-Qayyim. Also take, for instance, there is an argument in fiqh, and I read this in Tafsir Ayat al-Akam of Sheikh Ali Sabuni. The ulama have divergent opinions concerning Qatlul Abi Bibni. Do we kill the father if he kills the child? And the view of the Jumhur is that no, La yuqtalul Abu Bibni. based on the hadith. But this hadith, mukhtalafun fi sihhatihi. And the view of the Malikiya is that you don't kill the father if he kills his child, illa idha abuja'ahu wa dhabaha. But now the Da'iya, the Mufti, has to understand our situation. Here in Nigeria, we have seen parents that kill their children for money ritual. Now, do we give this fatwa and say we don't kill a father because he killed the child? On a final note, so I mentioned this. Then I also mentioned that the lack of interaction between du'at and Muslim professionals is a problem. Du'at, in our society, back in the days, there are different people are in different categories. There are kusas, there are du'at, there are those that are mufti, among others. In our society, everybody is one in one, all in one. A da'iya with a Thanawi certificate who can only speak little Arabic is a mufti, is a Sheikh al-Islam, is everything. There's the need for us to interact with the professionals when issues arise, medical doctors, engineers, among others, so that we arrive at very correct views. I have just 1 minute left. Then the lack of regulation of social media is a problem. Social media today is not regulated by any law. Anybody can come out and say anything that he likes. Nobody cares. And especially when it comes to Islam, everybody is an expert. You can't go to court to present a case on behalf of a client unless you have spent 5 years in the undergraduate for studying for law degree. After that, you go to the school of law, either Rivers State or Kano or Abuja, to spend 1 year to study law. After that, you go and understudy law in a chamber belonging to an SAN. So you follow him to court, then gradually he start giving you case files to go and represent him in court. That is when you now become a certified lawyer. But when it comes to Islamic studies, everybody that can open his mouth and say, Inna alhamdulillah, nahmuduhu, is a scholar. Then I gave recommendations in my paper. Number 1, I said there's a need for the establishment of a Majma al-Fiqh al-Islami. I am not sure if you have a functioning one in Nigeria. But what I know is that in the southwest, we have the Majlis of Al-A'imma wal-Ulama, which has not really been functioning as it should function. It is not functioning. Then we also need to have Darul Iftar. Appointment of Mufti today in our society is highly political. I don't want to mention names, but you look at a society in the Yoruba environment, those that are appointed as Mufti are those that are either close to those in power or those that merely have names on social media. So, Darul Iftar, to be headed by a Mufti who is qualified to give fatwa, not the Juhala we appoint as Muftis. Then, there is also the need for professionalization of Dawah. The Dawah Institute of Nigeria in Niger State is doing a fantastic work. You know, we need to professionalize Dawah. Not everybody can give Dawah. Just because I study Islamic studies doesn't qualify me to give Dawah. I have to study Dawah. Aliko University, where I work, has certificates in Dawah for Imams and intending Du'at. So I welcome you to my university to come and have this certificate, inshallah. Then there's the need for certification of Du'at. El-Rufai tried it in Kaduna. The non-Muslim said he's trying to gag the pastors. Until we start certifying Du'at, you can talk. You cannot talk, we'll have a problem. In Saudi Arabia, where my teachers study, you can't stand up after any salat and say, Inna alhamdulillah, you'll be arrested. So there's a need for us to also have such in Nigeria to reduce the spate of this ugly trend. And then finally, there's the need for regulation of dawah activities on social media and electronic devices. Wa sallallahu sallam ala nabiyina Muhammadin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi.
Allahu Akbar, Jazakallahu khairan. I'm proud of you, my dear students. Jazakallahu khairan. Dr. Haruna Sanusi indeed has tried in this presentation. He tried to define who is Da'iya. And also he mentioned some issues that are very, very interesting. Like genotype and also DNA and others. And also he mentioned some challenges that are facing da'wah in our Nigeria, in this country. Number 1, he mentioned ignorance. Number 2, lack interactions between al-ulama, and also the problem of social media in our country. And also, he mentioned some suggestions for these challenges. He mentioned the need of Majma al-Fiqh, the Council of al-Fiqh, Islam jurisprudence, and then we need to establish Daaru-Ifta, and also to professionalize the da'wah in our country, and also we need to regulate the use of da'wah in our media. I pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to reward Dr. Harun Sanusi for this excellent presentation. Now we are going to the third paper that will be delivered in this session. That is from Al-Ustad Tawheed Dhikrullah. The title of his paper is Fiqh of Contemporary Issues, Importance and Challenges. We give you just only 15 minutes. I pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to give it tawfiq.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Firstly, I would like to appreciate the organizer of this program, Sheikh Imran AbdulMajeed Eleha, and all the participants, people that have been coming since the program has started about 2 weeks ago. We are all appreciated. And for the fact that what we are doing is to ensure that Islamic faith is enshrined deeply in Nigeria and become the most popular religion as we have in the Southwest. That is the essence of our gathering here, to promote our faith. May Allah make it possible as we have intended. So to start with, I would like to talk, the topic of my paper specifically is a contemporary fiqh. That's fiqh, the significance and the challenges. That's what I'm talking on. To start with, I would like to give us the definition of contemporary issues in fiqh. Fiqh of contemporary issues refers to the application of Islamic jurisprudential principle to address modern challenges and issues. This field seeks to derive legal rulings and ethical guidance from Islamic sources, primarily Quran and Hadith, to address complex issues that have emerged in the contemporary world. That is the definition, or what is being said concerning contemporary fiqh. And our scholars have been talking about this since we've gathered here day before yesterday, giving us different definitions in Arabic. However, from my perspective, I would like to take us through other names that this particular topic is called. People call it contemporary fiqh, and we have some other names for it, among which is fiqh al-mu'assir, contemporary jurisprudence. This term emphasizes the contemporaneous of the jurisprudential discussions and applications to address current issues. Another name is fiqh al-waqi, jurisprudence of the current situation. These terms underscore the focus on the present situations and the application of fiqh principles to current realities. Fiqh al-mustaqbal, jurisprudence of the future. This term indicates the forward-looking nature of the discussions, considering future challenges and development. Fiqh al-hadith, jurisprudence of the new. The term hadith here refers to the contemporary or new situation, signaling the adaptation of fiqh to new circumstance. Fiqh al-mu'assira, jurisprudence of contemporary issues. This term highlights the focus on addressing and providing guidance on issues really relevant to contemporary society. Fiqh al-ijtihad al-jadid, new ijtihad jurisprudence. The terms underscore the use of ijtihad, independent reasoning, in addressing new and emerging issues. Fiqh al-milal, jurisprudence of the religion. This term may be used to signify the application of fiqh to the diverse religious and cultural contexts encountered in contemporary societies. Fiqh at-tatbiq al-mu'assir, contemporary application of jurisprudence. This term highlights the practical application of fiqh principles to address contemporary challenges. Fiqh al-Masail al-Mu'assira, jurisprudence of contemporary issues, similar to fiqh al-Mu'assara. So by implications, we've been able to have 10 different names that this particular topic can be called. Hence, we talk about application of contemporary fiqh. The application of Islamic jurisprudence fiqh to modern issues involves interpreting traditional Islamic teachings to provide guidance on contemporary challenges. Scholars engage in this process, often employing dynamic interpretations to adapt principle to new situations. Here are examples of the applications of fiqh, of modern fiqh. Number one, we talk about bioethics. The issue here is that advances in medical technology, organ transplantation, and genetic engineering, e.g. IVF, that is common in our society. The application. Fiqh is applied to provide ethical guidelines on issues such as organ donation, cloning, assisted reproductive technologies. Scholars engage in ijtihad to ensure compliance with Islamic principles of sanctity of life and human dignity. Hence, we give considerations to explain how fiqh has addressed IVF in Islam. Permissibility. The permissibility of IVF is generally accepted in many Islamic schools of thought if it adheres to certain ethical principles. This includes using the couple's own genetic material and avoiding third-party involvement. Issues on third-party involvement. The use of donated sperm, eggs, or embryos may raise ethical concerns in some Islamic perspective. Scholars may vary in their opinions regarding the possibility of third-party involvement. Timing of the procedure, as in regarding IVF. Some scholars may consider the timing of IVF procedures in relation to the Islamic calendar, such as avoiding procedures during the month of Ramadan. Handling of embryos. The handling of embryos and their potential disposal or freezing may also be subject to ethical consideration. Intention, that's the niyyah. The intention behind undergoing IVF are important in Islamic ethics. The primary intention should be to fulfill the desire for a lawful and loving family. Medical ethics and pandemics. Ethical consideration in medical practices, especially during pandemics, is also things of a contemporary fiqh. Fiqh is applied to address issues such as vaccination, quarantine, and prioritizing medical resources during pandemic. Scholars engage in ijtihad to provide ethical guidelines while ensuring the preservation of life and well-being of the community. Technology and digital ethics. Contemporary fiqh, that's al-fiqh al-waqi, also applies to technology and digital ethics. Ethical consideration in the use of technology, artificial intelligence, and digital transactions. As been mentioned by Professor Alaru and Professor Dogarawa, they've talked about this. Scholars apply fiqh principles to address issues like privacy, data security, and permissibility of certain digital transactions. They engage in ijtihad to provide guidance in a rapidly evolving technological landscape. Islamic finance. It extends to how we do our finances. Development of modern financial instruments and institutions adhering to Islamic principles, e.g., cryptocurrency, online crowdfunding, etc. Fiqh principles are applied to structure financial products that comply with Sharia, addressing issues related to interest, riba, and ensuring ethical financial practices. Here, I would like to talk also that from this finance that we are talking about, that Islamic finance, there are opportunities for us in Nigeria, most especially our young graduates, to enroll into areas of certified Sharia auditor and advisor or certified Islamic professional accountant has been issued by IOV. The exam is written here in Nigeria. Our young graduates should try as much as possible to enroll into this program and get certified. There are job opportunities for them, and I'm very sure Professor Dogarawa, have that influence to ensure whosoever that have such a certificate, they can be better placed if they, and Professor Alaro too has such an opportunity. Let's try as much as possible to key into it. Now, I would like to talk on the challenges of a contemporary fiqh. To start with, we'll talk about diversity of opinions. There is often diversity of opinions among scholars regarding the application of fiqh to contemporary issues. Different schools of thought may have varying interpretations, leading to potential disagreement. Second challenge is a consensus, that's ijtima difficulties. Achieving consensus among scholars are often issues, on modern issues, can be challenging. Unlike classical issues where consensus was relatively easier, contemporary challenges may not have clear-cut, unanimous agreement. Interdisciplinary complexity. Modern issues often require an understanding of various disciplines such as science, technology, economics, and ethics. Scholars engaged in contemporary fiqh must possess interdisciplinary knowledge to provide informed guidance. Pace of change. The rapid pace of technological, social, and political change poses a challenge to fiqh scholar who may find it difficult to keep up with emerging issues and provide timely guidance. Globalization and cultural context. Fiqh must address issues within a global context, where cultural diversity and different legal systems pose challenges in formulating universally applicable guidelines that respect local customs and laws. Gender-related issues. The application of fiqh to gender-related issues, such as women's rights, can be contentious. Scholars face challenges in interpreting Islamic teachings to address contemporary understanding of gender equality and justice. Ethical consideration. Balancing traditional ethical considerations with the evolving ethical standard of modern world can be challenging. Fiqh scholar must address ethical concerns that may not have been explicitly covered in classical texts. Legal pluralism. Modern society often have legal systems that are pluralistic, including both secular and religious law. Fiqh scholars face challenges in navigating this pluralistic legal environment. Public engagement and education. There is need for effective communication and education to help the wider Muslim community understand the reasoning behind contemporary fiqh rulings. Public engagement and education initiatives are crucial but can be challenging to implement. And lastly, technological ethical dilemmas. Issues related to emerging technologies such as artificial intelligence, bioengineering, and digital privacy pose ethical dilemmas. Fiqh scholars need to provide guidance while staying informed about the rapidly evolving landscape of technology. So these are the challenges that face ulamas or the Muslim in ensuring that we apply the classical principle of fiqh to the contemporary issues that we have at hand. Hence, there is this term they call fiqh lens. Fiqh lens has been defined. It talks about how we use the principle of a classical fiqh, that's the holding fiqh rules, to be able to apply to what we have in our contemporary issues. Has been said by various speakers before now that the ruling in Quran and the Hadith, they are not changing, but the application is where we have issues. So if we have understanding of what is called fiqh lens, it helps us to be able to apply the rules and extend it to issues that we have contemporarily, even issues that will come up in years to come. So at these junctions, I will say wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Jazallahu al-akh al-kareem al-ustad Tawheed Dhikrullah. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reward you abundantly for your presentation. MashaAllah, you applied or you committed with the time, just only 15 minutes. Jazakallahu khairan. Now, my brothers and sisters, we are going to allow or permit maybe 3 or 4 contributions on this program. So let us see who are going to contribute and participate. I can see our father here, Sheikh Abdul-Rashid Hadiyatullah, one of the commentators. Number 2, Professor Abdul-Ghani Akorede, I can see. Please, I want to, even one of our sisters, since we started this program, I didn't see any sister to talk. Please, I need 1 or 2 from our sisters to contribute to this very, very important program. Jazakumullah khairan. Now, number 1, number 2, number 3. You are number 3. Number 3, and you are number 4. Let us leave 2 from our sisters. From our sisters, 2. We need 2 of you to talk and to contribute. Now,
Assalamu alaikum, sir.
wa alaikum salam.
Before the contribution, sir, is to inform us that, inshallah ta'ala, after this sitting, we are going for salat. And after salat, inshallah, we are going back for the last, which is the sitting where the communique will be issued, and the award will be given to our eminent scholars who participated, inshallah ta'ala, and where the conference will be properly declared closed, inshallah ta'ala. And before 3:30, we want to do with all this process, inshallah. And once again, please do not perform ablution at this convenience place here. The guy there came here to report that he was about to be sacked, because after he has cleaned that place, those who supervise him went there and saw that there's water there again. And that is because we use the place and we perform ablution. And we should not be source of any human being problem. Please use the place. You need to clean yourself there. Please don't perform ablution there. Thank you very much.
Jazakallah khairan. Before our father we talk, let me introduce our Sheikh, our father, if you can say grandfather, Sheikh Abdul-Rashid Hadiyatullah. Sheikh Abdul-Rashid Hadiyatullah is a very, very humble, eminent scholar in this country. I can remember that he graduated from Islamic University Medina around 1972 when I finished my primary school. I traveled to Saudi Arabia in 1979 for study, but our father graduated in 1972. When we got to Saudi Arabia, mashallah, very, very popular among the scholars in Saudi Arabia, especially Sheikh Ibn Baz. I can describe him as Ibn Baz in Nigeria. Allahu Akbar. But he is very, very humble. Let me give you an example. I was talking with Professor Akorede here. You can see Dr. Ahmed. There's one presenter, Dr. Ahmed Olawiola Abdul Salam. Is a son of his teacher, Sheikh Murtada Abdul Salam, rahimahullah, in Ibadan. This Ahmed is like a grandson for our Sheikh. Not a son, it's like grandson for our Sheikh. But because of humbleness of this Sheikh, wallahi, he stood up from there and came to say salam to Ahmed Abdul Salam. Why? Because his father is what he taught him and was teacher for him. Look at this humbleness from our Sheikh. So this is also fiqh al-waqa'. You can see it's a contemporary issue. So jazakallah khairan. So we welcome you for your contribution. Jazakallah khairan.
And lastly, our father, our grandfather, as I used to refer to him, I can't call him our father. He's my grandfather. He's the president, chairman, Supreme Council for Sharia Affairs of Nigeria.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله وكفى والصلاة والسلام على نبي المصطفى Alhamdulillah, I greet all of you with the greetings of Islam and I say Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. also commend the organizers of this Al-Mu'tamar, of this conference, particularly Sheikh Dr. Ibrahim, Dr. Imran, AbdulMajeed, Eleha, and all the committees who helped him to organize this August Mu'tamar conference. I greet all those who came from far, from abroad, from Iraq, from Oman, from Aljazair, from Saudi Arabia, and then from our neighboring countries, Côte d'Ivoire, Senegal, and Burkina Faso, and Benin Republic. I greet all of you. And I greet all those chairmen who have chairman this occasion. You know, what I really want to say is this. I don't read your minds, but I know that we are having different opinions as regard the al-alaqa بين فقه الشريعة وفقه الواقع. Let us lay the emphasis on the relevance of Al-Quran and Sunnah. Al-Quran and Sunnah can never, never, ever be changed. You see, if you are giving fatwa, because you look at the right answer from the Quran and you can't find it, and you are unable to see the solution, that doesn't mean you are changing Al-Quran. That doesn't mean that you are changing the Sunnah. Let us lay the emphasis on relevance of Al-Quran and this and Sunnah, and this Islamic law is relevant yesterday, it's relevant today, and it will be of use till the end of this world. Al-Quran Al-Karim and Sunnah can never, ever be changed. Let's lay the emphasis on that. Now, and that all what has been said about the contemporary issues, the fiqh of contemporary issues, and the fiqh of the occurrences, and then the examples given by our scholars, all those examples are not changing Al-Quran. And they are not giving the legal verdicts from their own pocket. They are just basing the legal verdicts on what they on the similarity and what they have seen in Al-Quran Al-Karim. And then you have heard Sheikh Eleha, who prayed in one mosque in the US, prayed the Jummah twice. He led the Jummah for some congregations, and when they have left, he led another Jummah for another congregation. Maybe that is the time when they came out of their jobs. And that has happened that has been happening in US for the Eid also. Eid for the Eid even in UK. And then the issue of janaza here. Janaza. When a prominent personality dies, you see they will pray janaza prayer on him. I mean, different imams will be praying janaza on him. Then where are you seeing that? This is in some areas and some countries we find that, but particularly in this Nigeria. That's another fiqh al-waqi that we can call fiqh al-waqi. According to the example given by these our scholars, eminent scholars who have spoken on this al-alaqa بين فقه الشريعة وفقه الواقع. And then this is where the ijtihad has led these people to. So, and then we don't need to be blaming them when they are giving fatwa on this issue, on that issue. But we must know that we must lay emphasis on Quran and Hadith, that they can never be changed. You see, the Vatican, before Zawaj al-Misliya, they condemn it, and now they are blessing it. The same gender, two men, one can be the husband, the other man can be the wife. And the lesbianity also, the lesbians. A woman can be the husband, another woman can be the wife. Lesbianity. And you see how Quran condemned Lut, condemned the Lutiyun. You see? What is that now? Before the Vatican, and that Vatican is regarded as the head of the Christian all over the world, the Vatican. Maybe you don't know the place, a very small village in Italy. And this is where the Rabbanas come. وَرُهْبَانِيَّةً ابْتَدَعُوهَا مَا كَتَبْنَاهَا لَهُمْ إِلَّا ابْتِغَاءَ مَرْضَاتِ اللَّهِ. هذه الآية القرآنية. رهبنا. The woman, father, they said, we are not going to get married. Their father, their woman, father, now is blessing Zawaj al-Misliya. Two genders. I mean, the husband and men can be married. One man will be the husband, another man will be wife. And then the same thing, a woman will be the husband, another woman will be wife. A week ago now,
class, but you endure to sit down, you endure to listen. So I really appreciate you. May Almighty Allah reward every one of you abundantly. The problems we have, as I look at it, the problems of fatwa came from two people. The first people are those who are learners. They know Islam very well, but they refuse to apply fiqh al-waqi'. I don't know whether they do it deliberately or to cause problem in our society. The second people, we don't have much problem with them. Those who are not knowledgeable, they just go to the social media and as Dr. Lafiaji said, they just open their mouth and say, in alhamdulillah. So even from their beginning, we know them. So, but I think the solution to this problem is to have a powerful body, Baba, to have a powerful body who can regulate these people. And alhamdulillah, these ulama bilad Yoruba that are going to be launched very soon. Inshallah, all of you will hear it. They are going to try their best, and we hope that Almighty Allah will assist them to do the right thing about it. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Before we go to number 3, just to let you know that you are allowed and permitted to contribute with any language, even Yoruba language. So we are welcome everything here. Because if someone will translate it. Now, number 3. I think this brother or not. Okay, come. Okay.
Alhamdulillah wa kafa, thumma salatu wa salam ala al-habib al-mustafa wa ba'd. I'm actually grateful to Allah Azza wa Jal for being here. May Allah reward the organizers of this very important gathering with the best in this world and the hereafter. I'm humbled to stand before my Sheikh and my mentor, Sheikh Professor Ahmed Bello Dogara. In fact, he taught me Arabic. He was the first person I formally learned Arabic from. Jazahullah khairan. I just want to make two contributions. One goes to him, my Sheikh, and the second one goes to Dr. Sanusi Lafiagi. Sheikh talks about, conceptualizing an issue or any masala before the Mufti issues verdict on that. So my humble question, Sheikh, is there is a well-known Islamic juristic maxim of the Malik of the Shafi'ite, the Shafi'iyya, which says ترك الاستفصال في مقام الاحتمال ينزل منزلة العموم في المقال. So in this case, if the Mufti is well aware of the mas'ala, of the issue, likewise the condition, as well as the circumstances surrounding the person and the issue he brought forth, can he, based on this very qa'idah, though some scholars have differed regarding it, decide not to ask questions, but rather, hit the nail on its head by, ترك الاستفسال في مقام الاحتمال ينزل منزلة العموم في المقال. That's the question. And my second question to Dr. Lafiagi, he made mention of Jumu'ah prayer being said in the United States of America, the same, masjid, the same, geographical location, the same imam, but two different jama'ah. So in this case, based on qiyas as one of the sources of Islamic jurisprudence, do we take a look at the hadith of Mu'adh bin Jabal, A'araf ummati bil halal wal haram, who we come to the masjid an-Nabawi of the Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam, perform, Isha prayer behind him, and will go back to his people al-Quba to lead them in prayer. That's number one question. Number two question, those who say that, we look at issues and matters that affect Islam, do we say, since we all agree that the Quran and Sunnah remain unchanged, are you for tajdeed khitab ad-dini? Or maybe we can say we deal with every mas'ala based on how it is. And again, again, you also made mention of some scholars, not scholars, or muta'alim, as you said. I agree with you 100% that some say Allah did not actually prohibit zina. But in this is comment I want to make. In every issue, and no matter how knowledgeable is a scholar, you find out that in one or two, mas'ala, the scholar has fumbled. And based on that, scholar say, Man tatabba'a zallatul ulama tazandaq. How do we apply this very statement as a rejoinder to people that have these very weird views or opinions? Jazakumullah khairan.
Thank you for your contribution. Maybe I can give Sanusi just only 1 minute to answer this, or we can go, we can move. After the competition, okay. Now, number 4. So our sisters, maybe one or two, now ready for contribution. We give to you there, inshallah. You can make your contribution, inshallah.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Without wasting our time, then this is the Yoruba land. Then I will combine between Yoruba and English, probably with Arabic at times. First of all, I want to thank Almighty Allah that's made me to be a Muslim. I had an information from one of our father. He said that Islam is divine religion, it's not design religion. And that thought is looking for, we need to thought deeply on that message. The second one, my own, is not question. I just want to appeal. Mo fẹ́ bẹ̀ àwọn bàbá wa ní àwọn kankan tí ó ń ṣẹlẹ̀ ní ilẹ̀ Yorùbá. Inú mi sì dùn pé àwọn bàbá wa ni wọ́n wà ń bí. Àwọn bàbá wo OTUYO. Ìgbà tí mi dé, àwọn bàbá wa àgbà. Ọlọ́run bá ní lọ́ra ẹ̀mí wọn. Àdúrà wọn ló gbà lórí gbogbo wa. Ọlọ́run má ṣe bá wa ṣàlékún dáadáa fún gbogbo ẹ̀yin bàbá wa. Àwọn bàbá wa Akóredé àti àwọn bàbá mo rántí ńgbà tí wọ́n wá sí Jamia Islamiyya lọ́dún náà lọ́hùn. Èmi kù ní Riyadh pẹ̀lú Dr. Khidir Mustapha tó ń jẹ́ àfáà wa ní Zulẹ̀ Abiola lábẹ́kúta. Abẹ́kúta rẹ̀ mi ti wá o. So àwa pàdé wọn ní Jamia Islamiyya lọ́dún náà lọ́hùn. Àwọn bàbá wo tún yọ agbọ́rù wọn ní Jamia Imam lèmi lọ. Ẹni àkọ́kọ́ tí Dr. Ishaq tó dẹ̀ mú mi lọ kí n lé nígbà tí mo dé Jamia Imam ní Sheikh Eleha, ọlọ́mọṣẹ́bà ṣe dáadáa fún wọn. Ẹ̀yin bàbá wa Ọlọ́run jàre yín pẹ́. Fiqhul waqi tí ẹ̀ ń bá wa sọ nípa rẹ̀ yìí. Ẹni ó ní àwọn dawabit. Mo rántí pé ńgbà tí mo ń ṣe masters mi lórí ọ̀rọ̀ tó ní ṣe pẹ̀lú kubur, wọ́n wá ń béèrè wípé ṣé a lè sin òkú sílé àbí a lè sin òkú sílé. In short, tawsiya risala mi ni wípé Islam ò gbà wá láyè ká sin òkú sílé. Àmọ́ ẹni tó jẹ́ munakash tó wá láti ìta wá sọ wípé tí òkú tó bá wà eminent tó bá kú ńkọ́, torí pé nílẹ̀ Yorùbá wọ́n máa ń gé orí òkú, wọ́n máa ń gẹ́sẹ̀ òkú. Ṣé gbogbo òkú la lè kó lọ sí tẹ́ àbí ó láwọn kan tá a lè sin sílé? Fiqhul waqi mo hangi ńgbà náà. So supervisor mi ló dáhùn ẹ̀. So ìbéèrè yẹn mo tún wá fẹ́ béèrè ní ibi ìbá pé tábà ní al-hukmu ala shay'in far'un an tasawwurihi hal hadhihi yani lahu dawabit am la? Yani لا وأضرب الله الأمثال بتدفين الميت في البيت ولا غيره. نسأل الله التوفيق. إليك تامبني بي أجوين بابا ما بينو. Dr. Lafia ti mention gbogbo ìlú àwọn Lárúbáwá tá ń lọ àtàwọn ìlú míì la rí Majma' Fikiri la ní Darul Iftah tó jẹ́ sí pé ó lọ́wọ́ ìjọba nù. Ìfà lọ́dún kan mo lọ Zamfara mo dà pé wọ́n ní Ministry for Islamic Affairs gbogbo ẹ̀. Ní Ìlọrin wọn bí báyìí wọ́n ní Sharia Court of Appeal. Gbogbo ń tà ń kọ́ yìí Èkó la wà yìí. A ní Sharia Court wa níbi tá a lè máa yanjú ọ̀rọ̀ àwa mùsùlùmí tó jẹ́ pé ìjọba lọ́wọ́ ń bẹ̀. Bàbá wa tó gbogbo ẹ̀ náà báwo lẹ ṣe bá wa ṣe. Jazakumullahu khairan wa salamu alaykum.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Ẹ dákun ẹni tí ká bá gbé microphone fún àwọn sísá kan kó tá bá sọ̀rọ̀ àbí kó contribute.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I really thank Sheikh for this program because it is a very good program that actually helps us to understand our religion very well. But based on what you have been discussing, I really have some appeal. That is, if we could get something out of this conference, there is a real need for a kind of organization on some issues concerning the Muslims. Because the issue of the fatwa and the rulings that some are actually putting into the society without any regulation, it has actually caused a lot of things in our society. And because of that, there is need for a regulation concerning the family organization that deals with the concept of marriage, children's upgrading. And there is need for counseling too. Because many Muslims are just being Muslims. They actually didn't really understand what it takes to be a Muslim. The other one is the issue of our business development. Being a Muslim and doing business, there should be a way that we can do it in such a way that we can actually help ourselves. In terms of financial support for ourselves, there should be a platform where Muslims can actually go to, and they can actually find a way to help themselves with their business development. Then the last one is dispute resolution. There should be an office whereby when Muslims are having issues, they can actually go to and be able to resolve their problem. And I believe that having these kind of organizations, whenever there's an issue, there will be a platform whereby the ulamas, the sheikhs can be able to know the better way to be able to deal with all these crises. There's no way issues will not come up. And for the sake of our children that are actually coming, for us to actually give them a platform whereby they will have more confidence of being a Muslim, there is need for all these organizations to be in place to be able to have a head forward to progress. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi. Thank you for your contribution. If there's any contribution from our sisters before we come to our brothers here. No one? It's okay? Okay, come, it's okay. So, Alhamdulillah, Alhamdulillah, Alhamdulillah. We thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that we are going to end up this program with Alhamdulillah. But I want to, those who are organizers, are you with me? So we have some suggestions here. Oh, sorry. Sanusi, do you want to say? Sorry.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. I want to appreciate our brother who asked the questions. Actually, I really don't see them as questions. It's contributions from his end. Concerning the issue of praying multiple Salatul Jumu'ah in the same mosque led by the same Imam for different groups, it's not just about the Salatul Jumu'ah that the Islamic Fiqh, the American Fiqh Academy gave a fatwa. It also includes if a mosque cannot contain the Jama'ah at a go, they can break their Salat. Some will pray with the Imam. Then when they leave, others will also come and pray, as contrary to what we do here, whereby we block roads during Jumu'ah. You can't do that in America. You can't block the roads for Salat. You'll be arrested. So, you see, this is why I understand their situation. And I think the Mufti in their country gave the fatwa that is best for them. This may not work in other places. But like Ibn Qayyim rightly said, وَمَنْ أَفْتَى النَّاسَ بِمُجَرَّدِ الْمَنْقُولِ فِي الْكُتُبِ بغير مراعاة عرفهم وعوائدهم وأحوالهم وقرائن أحوالهم وأزمنتهم وأمكنتهم فقد ضل وأضل وكانت جنايته على الدين أشد من جناية من طبب الناس في أبدانهم بغير مراعاة عوائدهم وبلدانهم. That's what Ibn Qayyim said. Whoever gives fatwa to people without considering their circumstances and their country, what is happening there, their customs, he said he is astray and he will lead others astray. And he is a greater criminal than someone who is not a trained medical doctor, who applies drugs and treatment to people irrespective of the differences in their biological configuration. So I agree with them, but if I were to give a fatwa here, I would definitely give a different one. Because we don't have some peculiarities in our society. So that is as far as that is concerned. Then for the other one, our Sheikh, my own grandfather, has mentioned that the essence of this conference and discussions is not to challenge or change the text of the Quran and Sunnah. These are facts that are established, وَبَاقِيَةً إِلَى يَوْمِ الْقِيَامَةِ. But they are to renew, like you said, تَجْدِيدُ الْخِطَابِ الدِّينِ, if the intention is not to challenge the text, but to look at how the text apply to our own situations. Though this is something that the ulama permit, so long as it is not to undermine the text, not to water down the deen, but to apply the relevant text to our situation. I give an example. The issues of organ transplantation and grafting started in the 1950s. They did not occur in the 1940s. but in the 1950s. Is it permissible or not permissible? اختلف العلماء في المسألة. And what seemed to be the more correct opinion, as far as I am concerned, what I've read of the opinion is that of permissibility with conditions. Whether the organ to be transplanted is from a live donor or from a cadaveric donor, it's permitted, so long as the conditions apply. Why? During the time of the Messenger of Allah, a man once lost his nose. His nose was cut off. And the Prophet permitted him to replace the nose with something else. In fact, when the first replacement caused the nose to degenerate and start smelling, he said he should use gold to replace the nose. So if the Prophet can permit that, then qiyasan, organ transplantation for someone that needs it is also permitted. Another example, there was a time a company came to Nigeria that they want to start doing milk donation. They called for women to come and donate their milk so that motherless babies will be breastfed with this milk. Now, an ordinary person will look at the issue and say, well, this is good. Of course, sometime on the Messenger of Allah, even before he was born, there were wet nurses who were breastfeeding people. Good. But then, when you look at this mas'ala, with the tasawwur that is okay, you realize that it is not halal. Why? Because unless we can track everybody that received that milk, we will fall into the problem of people that were breastfed by the same breast milk marrying each other, which is haram in Islam. Wa akhawatukum min ar-radha'a. So these are issues that the scholars, these are my teachers, need to study critically, before issuing such fatwa. Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Naam? Okay, my professor.
Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you very much. I want to really thank you for your feedback. I have two questions. Number one is whether it is necessary at all times to do istifsar and istifsal before one, have a good grasp and deep comprehension of an issue. Well, this depends on the situation and whether the matter that has been presented to the alim or to the mufti is self-explanatory. But in terms of basis for this istifsal and istifsar, we could find it in many ahadith of the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam. For example, when the Sahaba or the Sahabi that confessed to have committed zina came to him, the Prophet ﷺ asked him questions. You mean you do this? You mean you do that? And he was even trying to see whether he was drunk or not. This is a form of istifsal and istifsar, so that the matter will be very, very clear. Also, the Prophet ﷺ sometimes give even fatwa on the basis of ihtimalat, that if it is this, then the ruling is this. But if it is that, the ruling is that. For example, a woman came to him. She was fasting. And the Prophet ﷺ drank some milk and gave her, the remnants or what he left from the cup. And the woman drank it. And after drinking, she said, but I am fasting. However, I didn't want to miss the fadl that you left for me. Then the Prophet ﷺ said, if you are fasting is to redeem a pledge that is sawmun nadhar, then you should fast on another day. But if it is voluntary fasting, then there is no problem. So you can see all in an attempt to consider ihtimalat sometimes, because the fatwa may need to change. You may need to change your fatwa on the basis of changing circumstance. So istifsar and istifsar is just one of the considerations for husn tasawwur. It's not necessary that everything we mention regarding husn tasawwur must all be used. However, if you need to seek clarification in order to be very, very clear about what the question is all about, then you need to use istifsal and istifsar. And on the issue of al-hukm ala shay'in far'un an tasawwuri, it is dawabit, but we need to also differentiate between naqalul hukum and al-ijtihad fi isdarul hukum. If it is a new matter about which there is not any precedence and that it's not something common that people know, then certainly husn tasawwur is necessary. But if it is something that one is asked and the answer is just one answer, no two ways about it. For example, someone coming to say, is zina haram? You don't need to ask any question. You don't need any husn tasawwur, because in this case you are only doing nakal. You are only telling him what Allah says in the Quran. وَلَا تَقْرَبُوا الزِّنَا إِنَّهُ كَانَ فَاحِشَةً وَسَاءَ سَبِيلًا. That's just the answer. But if it is something that requires, reflection, and that the circumstances may change from one place to another, then certainly this tasawwur is necessary. Otherwise, we will fall victim of what Ibn Amir al-Hajj that I quoted said in his, in his book, and also the statement of Ibn al-Qayyim that has been quoted repeatedly on the importance of husn tasawwur. Let me just give one example. We've had several times that fiqh al-waqi is not applicable to politics. But most of the scholars that are giving that fatwa are scholars that don't need it in their place or in their claims. For example, in Saudi Arabia, they are using mulukiya, so there is no point asking who is qualified, who is not qualified, who should be voted, whether one can present himself for election and the rest. Because they don't need that. It's about, traditional way of having, kings, muluks, that's all. But in Nigeria, where we have democracy, and it is the system that's aside in Dana, you need fiqhul waqi regarding politics. Otherwise, you will not know the right caliber of people to, elect or to present for election and the rest. So you can see the importance of fiqhul waqi. Or maybe the fatwa, that very popular fatwa that we've been told in the 80s, that it is haram for a woman to drive car. Of course, in those days, because even in Saudi Arabia, things have changed now. But in those days, there was no need for any, Saudi woman to drive a car. But in Nigeria, we know in 80s, in 90s, and even recently, go to anywhere, any bus stop, and you see how men and women are struggling to enter a bus, intermingling anyhow. Sometimes, especially during fuel scarcity, you would see maybe a woman trying to sit on the lap of a man, or a man trying to sit on the lap of a woman, unknowingly, because he and she have to go home. Now, even on the basis of irtikabu akhafu dararain, if you have the means of buying your wife a car so she can drive herself, do you now allow her to go and be struggling with the opposite sex in entering bus? So you can see this fiqh al-waqi is very important. And if you don't have this tasawwur, al-hasan, regarding the matter and as it affects that circumstance, the people or the geographical location, it will really lead to a very serious problem. Finally, Mr. Chairman, he gave example with daful mayt. It depends also, even that one. Sheikh Hussein would actually remember that when we were in Port Harcourt, we've actually had so many, we gathered a lot of experiences. There was one time when a man died in the outskirts of Port Harcourt, and he's a Muslim. But the relation said they are not going to give us the corpse so we can perform janaza on the corpse unless we buy them crates of khamr. And we also go to the market and buy them dog and I think, was it monkey or something like that? It's part of their tradition. And they insisted they're not going to release the corpse. Ordinarily, one would have looked at it from the viewpoint of maqasid, daf'ul mafsada and jalbul maslaha. But there is one very important thing even within the maqasid of that particular issue. And that is if we allow him to be buried in their place without bringing him to bury him, based on Islamic rites. The problem will be other new reverts would not understand the importance of brotherhood. So we told them we cannot go and buy khamr, alcohol for them. We can't buy liquor, but let them mention any amount they want from us in lieu of the cups. And they mention an amount and we give them. Now assuming you ask someone from Kano or Lagos this same question, he will tell you it is haram. Because he will not even understand, he can't imagine why one will be asked to pay something, So all of these are things that need to be considered and factored to be mahzurat. Exactly. So all of this need to be factored when giving fatwa. There are many examples, live examples that we have seen, especially when I was in Port Harcourt some 23, 24 years back. We have seen a lot, and Brother Hussein would testify to that before he finally left the country for his studies. Jazakumullahu khairan.
Jazakumullahu khairan. Before I will declare the closing of this session, I recorded 4 points here, so I want the organizers to bring this in their communique, please. Number one, there's a need of regulating fatwa by establishing either Daarul-Ifta or Majma' al-Fiqh al-Islami or Masjid al-Ulama. We need it here in Nigeria. This will be approved by the government of the Federal Government of Nigeria. That's number one. Number two, because of importance of the fiqh al-waqi', we suggest that this topic should be included in our curriculum, especially universities or in madaris al-Arabiya. يعني فقه الواقع ينبغي أن يكون جزءا من مناهجنا لأجل أهميته. The third point is about the al-fatwa or fiqh al-waqi' or tagayyur al-ahkam. This should not be in al-Quran or hadith or in aqaid, but any issues can come contemporary issue, we can apply fiqh al-waqi', not in fundamental issues in Islam like as-salat or siyam, zakat or others. This is number three. Number four, we should know that al-ijtihad, there must be conditions. There are conditions for al-ijtihad. Nobody can come and say I'm futi and I'm mujtahid. No, al-ijtihad has special conditions and requirements. So this must be in the conclusion and in the communique. Let me conclude and let me close this session by giving thanks to all our lecturers, those who presented their lectures. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reward you. Professor Ahmed Bello, Dr. Harun Sanusi, and Brother Dhikrullah, Tawheed Dhikrullah. And I also give thanks to our Sheikh Abu Rashid Hadiyatullah and Professor Abdulkadir Akurede and our brother, our Sheikh Fadil Khalud from Rabitat al-Alam Islami, and all our guests and our brothers and sisters who are patient from more than 4 hours now. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reward you abundantly. And I give thanks to the organizers, especially our Sheikh Imran Eleha and all other organizations. I think our brother, our Sheikh, want to say something before I give microphone to the organizer.
Yes, sir. I want to remind us again, inshallah, that this is not the last session.
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. بخصوص ما ذكره ابننا البروفيسور الدكتور في مسألة موضوع المسلمين في أمريكا، ونظرا لضرورة أن المكان لا يتسع للجميع ولا بد أن تعاد صلاة الجمعة، أعتقد كما هكذا أنا سمعت صلاة الجمعة على مرتين فقط. يعني أريد أن ما فهمته أنا إنه كأنه الإمام نفسه يصلي بالمجموعة الأولى ثم تأتي المجموعة الثانية أيضا هو يصلي بهم. نعم، فقط هذا أردت أن يوضح بأن إذا صلى بهم الإمام الأول فالمجموعة الثانية ينبغي أن يكون لها أيضا إماما آخر، لأن هذا صلاته إذا صلى بهم يكون له هو كأنها نافلة ولهم هم فأعتقد أنا ما فهمتها فقط يعني. شكرا جزاكم الله خيرا.
Now, you can go.
Yes, sir. Before our father round off, inshallah, this is to inform us again, inshallah, that after this session, we are going for salat. And we're having 30 minutes to observe our salat and come back for the final sitting, whereby the communique will be, and also our scholars will be honored by the award that will be given to them. And then we'll go and take our lunch and disperse to our various destinations. We pray Allah to reward every one of you for your patience, and may Allah accept us another ibadah.
اللهم ربنا تقبل منا إنك أنت السميع العليم وتب علينا يا مولانا إنك أنت التواب الرحيم. اللهم ربنا لا تدع لنا في مقامنا هذا ذنبا إلا غفرته ولا هما إلا فرجته ولا عيبا إلا سترته ولا مريضا إلا شفيته ولا مسافرا إلا حفظته ولا عسيرا إلا يسرته ولا دعاء إلا قبلته ولا ميتا إلا رحمته ولا حاجة من حوائج الدنيا هي لك رضا ولنا فيها صلاح إلا قضيتها يا أرحم الراحمين. سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين.
الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله حي على الصلاة حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح